Okay, so are we ready to go? Yeah? Okay, so guys, if we can just focus.
Yeah, we're Pain in the Ace, and we are going to
Pain in the ace.
we're going to present two different websites from two different artists under the theme of confusion, because we found this website quite disturbing and annoying to navigate through to find the information we needed. And to analyze the website, we divided the Elementor website into three different parts. The first is categorization, which is about
Slow, a little slower. Yeah.
categorization is about the menu and structure of the website. And second part is self-presentation, which is about how artists present themselves via CV and artist statement. And third part is artwork display, which is about how artists shows their works on the website. So the artists we are going to show are Lu Yang and Catherine Behar. And Lu Yang is the video multimedia artist and animator from China. And Catherine Behar is a new media artist from the States, doing sculpture, installation, and performance. So I'm going to talk about categorization with Lu Yang first.
Wow.
So it's very graphic and chaotic. And so at the first time, we couldn't even recognize where the menu were, but it's actually spread in the screen. So you have about and CV and contact here. Yeah, I don't see and press and exhibition kind of stuff. And yeah, I think the typographic of the website is quite dynamic, but the color is also too invisible according to the background. And yeah, I found it interesting that she put another category of exhibition and press when she has about and CV kind of stuff. So I thought that she's into promoting herself and having attention from media kind of thing. And she's also active on Instagram. And also another interesting thing is she didn't make the category of artwork, and each icons are actually, I can't see
Okay, you can't see the cursor, is it?
Yeah, and then these each.
Yeah, I can't see it either.
Yeah, it's too. Yeah,
There it is,
that's
there it is,
the
there it
problem,
is, there it is, there.
So yeah, it's
Got it? Don't take your eye off it.
yeah, exactly. So each icons are each artwork, and then she even made it interactive in some computers, so you can even drag and drop, but it doesn't work here. So she has to consider the compatibility on different devices. Yeah. And then the next one is Catherine Behar. So when you see first this, then everything is just left-sided, and so we're not really sure if it was on intention or if she was just careless. And the menu is just left side here. It's quite small, and she made this three big categorization of her menu. The first one is about herself, and second one is about collaboration, and the last one is about her publications. And yeah, for the first part, it's not really well organized for me, because she put art as a category as if it's not her main important thing from her other activities, and she put writing and teaching part in other category. So I think it's more for getting a job for her other parts of specialties, and she puts collaborations here and publications here, so it's more yeah, it seems like she's very much up for working for or with other people kind of thing. So she seems quite accessible as an artist. Yeah.
Actually, I think that's the first time someone's made that point, that to put your kind of willingness to collaborate up on your website is quite an interesting strategy as well. So good, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to talk about her self-presentation, and it's all inside the about. Okay, here. The first thing that you can see is the contact, which is quite useful because you can contact her very easily. And then the CV, it's downloadable. So there's the question if this is a technique of self-promotion, because to see her CV, you have to have it in your computer, and it's also a longer process. So it's kind of you have to be interested in it. But then there's something that is not that good as a self-promotion, that it's that in her CV, just like a long list of exhibitions.
Mhm.
It's not like she's talking about her or about her studies or jobs. It's just like a very long list about exhibitions and collaborations.
And that's really, really good.
It's,
Good point that you're bringing on CVs, because we haven't really looked at CVs across all the presentations. But even to question if something is downloadable and not viewable on the site, is that a good strategy? I think we will come back to that next
this is a
week.
question that it's
But it's
solved.
brilliant that you're asking these questions. You're moving in the right direction.
And well, in fact, the CV is 11 pages long.
Oh my
So
God!
it's quite annoying. And then there's the artist statement, that it's got a good thing that it opens here, not in another page.
Mm.
And well, the length is quite good, and she's talking about how she works, and she works like on digital media and about the relationship between humans and technology. Well, the main topics are these ones. And then it's also important thing that she gives like a bunch of questions first, and it makes the public be interested on the answers, so they keep reading it. And then there's a very curious thing that it's that she has 4 different biographies, and they are different because of the length. So if you're lazy, you can just read the short one, and it's just like a very, very short sentence. And then you have like medium one, medium
That's
long,
really interesting.
and long academic, which is a list of exhibitions again. And I think that it's interesting because it's maybe you can think that you are just going to read the short, but it's not true, because you are very curious and you're going to read all of them, or maybe not read, but just look around.
Scan through. But you said if you're lazy. I think you can also say if you're busy. So if you
Yeah.
kind of want to get a really quick overview
Yeah.
of who she is, then you can do that, and you can go, oh yeah, I'll bookmark this and I'll come back and look at it. So I think it's really clever.
Yes. And it's just talking about the same in 4 of them, but it's just that she's adding more and more exhibitions. Oh, it's longer. And, well, about Lu Yang. Well, just as she said, that it's a bit confusing to see, but it's all the bottom part, it's like about her, because it's about the CV and the contact.
And you click into one of them just so we can
Yes,
see.
yes. Okay, here's the about.
Okay.
And the about is just this sentence, nothing more like that, because the next thing is just pictures of her works. And well, here we can see that she like really she's really interested in showing artwork and not about talking about her. And okay, well, to go back you have to scroll up and then click here.
That's not very. It's making me
And
tired.
the CV
that
is
front
a list
page.
of exhibitions again. So the CV is very confusing because also the writing and green fluorescent and very small letters, it's a bit confusing, and it's also a very long list of exhibitions and collaborations.
But even that glitch on that CV at the top
Mm.
is
It's quite similar.
it's an
with
interesting
Catherine
choice.
That's consistent. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, and well, I can see the.
Have you lost the cursor?
Yeah. I found it.
You found it. Okay.
And the content is just this, which I think that it's very nice because it's very short and clear,
Mm.
and it's just like she's working through social media, so it's like because
It's
she's
very
very young.
It's very clear, but I would say, and I'm not asking you to do it, but if you clicked on the email, would you get? Is that a link? It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
good,
it's linked on all of them. Okay, so yeah. And well, comparing a bit between them is that Catherine is like both showing artwork and also showing personal details and qualifications, and I think that Catherine is more like looking for to show that she's able to work on she's looking for jobs, and that she's very accessible also. And also like Lu Yang, she's more like giving importance on the artwork than being accessible to jobs.
Mhm.
Just like you can't know anything about her. Maybe if you go to Instagram, you can know something, but not really. I mean, in the about, it's just one sentence and just pictures of artworks. It's just like she's saying, hey, I'm valuable because my artworks are nice, not because I have qualifications about whatever.
And again, it's a kind of self-aware strategy, or is it a, how aware is the artist of other people's strategies and other people's way of dealing with the same thing? Yeah.
And well, also that Lu Yang has a very like structured confusing style, because it's confusing, but it's also quite structured, but corners and sides of the page. Well, less the CV, which is just confusing.
Okay.
So I think I just do a short break of this very confusing website. Let's go back to Catherine Behan. Okay. So I was taking a look onto the presentation of the artworks, and I decided on dividing it into pictures, videos. How about pictures and videos? What about the text? Are they using loads of text? Where is it placed? Or what kind of font type do they use, and so on? And what's also quite interesting in Catherine Beha's case is the handling of links and redirections. So if we click on any kind of work here, this for example, you can see that the actual artworks, or the pictures of the artworks, are pretty small. You can make them bigger, and the text is usually divided, and you can just scroll through, or just click through, I mean. And the text is divided into a description and a statement, which is quite interesting because I took a look at most of her projects, and sometimes she's mixing it up a bit. It's not so easy to distinguish. So I made the suggestion of either merging these two parts, or maybe separating it a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What she's been doing here was in the bottom here, you can see that it's like a series of works. You can also, when we go back to the main page, we can find them somewhere. So they are more or less next to each other, and it's this e-waste series. But she's not always been handling it like that, because if we go, for example, onto this project here, we just get redirected onto a very different page, which was for me quite problematic, because it's a collaboration actually. That's the thing. When we go back, I just leave this open now. So this is her page, and you can see the collaborations here actually. So collaborations are somehow separated, but in her big grid kind of layout on the right side, there is no separation of what's a collaboration, what's her own work, and so on. So
and it's disorienting, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's anything that sort of, as you said, it sort of is problematic.
Yeah.
Potentially makes the site less successful. So it's not about, sometimes you can provoke. So obviously the other site, that she's trying to provoke something with all that busy. That's not that she's clueless.
No.
It's that it's been a deliberate ploy. But then when you dig a little into something like that, even something like a color coding, that we could see what was collaborative and what wasn't.
Definitely,
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's nothing like a coding, nothing like a visual language of telling. Okay, this is what I've been doing myself, and this is what I've done with other people in a collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you also can't even use the 3-click rule, because if you just if you're redirected onto this page, it's like a very different kind of organism or different universe. So you just for me it's not. It's not really comprehensible.
There's an ethical thing about collaboration. It's not very respectful of the other collaborators that she's just she's sort of catalogued it in with her own work.
That's right, actually. Yeah.
That it could be that somebody in that collaboration may feel that she's taking credit, or that she's placing herself at the front of or the head of that collaboration, whereas some little coding, because she's obviously, collaboration is part of her work, so some very clear statement somewhere explaining this and just preempting, just signposting this for us. We're very smart people. We don't need a label on everything, but we get the rhythms and patterns where it's been considered. So
Right.
it's a really good point.
That
yeah.
would be the intuitive way of just marking it somehow. That's right. And she has this other collaboration, this SRI, which is also just I don't know, randomly somewhere in this grid, and also some of her own works in an external Tumblr website. So it's really messed up somehow. So what I'd suggest is it would be better to make an installation or like a kind of default format of what she had in her more or less in this kind of format. It would be nice to have okay pictures. They don't have to be big. I don't know why she's chosen to make it so small, but it's okay. In some situations, she embedded Vimeo videos of her actual works or of a documentation of her work, so that's fine, and also text. But it would be nice to also take the collaboration works, put them into this format, and provide a link into these. That was my kind of idea. That was one thing. And yeah, like I said before, the description in the statement should be either merged or plausibly distinguished somehow. Because here, for example, she's just got a statement, and in the description you've got more or less most of the time the materials and more or less a description like a kind of context or something. And in the statement it's more about the philosophical background, I'd say. Okay, so much about that. And where's Lu Yang? I lost her.
Yeah.
It's fine. I
Yeah,
can
maybe
just open it.
content. Yeah, but
It's fine. So if we go back here, even though it's quite confusing because everything's in motion, but it's somehow at least a clear order. So it's a clear order of her works.
I think within the context of her work and her persona, it works. And I
It
think it
works,
works because she's gone balls out, totally, yeah, I'm making a strategy of this. And I think that's where
the thing.
some other people get it wrong, where it looks tentative.
That's right.
Whereas with her, this is part of her art. So the website here is an extension of her own kind of creative practice.
Definitely,
Yeah.
that was my answer as well. Definitely, and
Oh.
if we are able, if we're able to find the arrow,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
click into project. Okay, that's editing. That's not a good example. Sorry. Just let's take this one. For me, it was quite intuitive because we can see. Oh yeah, that's the background of every single. The intuitive thing about this website is that you can always, even though it's so confusing, you can always see where you can go back.
Yeah.
So that's really for me always very, very important if I use websites.
But I think
To
it's
have this
also
idea.
you can take risks. You can, as long as you think about the user and you give them a map. You give them something. So it's where you have links within links within links, and things aren't labelled properly. That everything has to become very pedantic and very, very clear. But you can take risks with how you present your work, as long as you're giving, as long as it's very clear that that's what you're doing, and you're giving some kind of navigational strategy. That's an excellent navigational strategy.
Yeah.
That if you do get lost, we know what that homepage is because we can't miss it. We will see that homepage up until the day we die in our nightmares. Yeah, but it works. So it doesn't always have to be about being pleasing and aesthetically neutral. You can actually provoke good interaction and good user response by just giving people. I call that a landing page. It's where you're always going to land. You're going to land back on that page because it's so iconic. Yeah.
So what happens actually on this, sub pages is that she usually takes like a kind of a main character, something like a main picture for the background, and puts it into tiles. And the thing is, I mean, we can't see it here so properly, but she uses this kind of green, like neon green text everywhere, and I need to take a look, but usually she had loads and loads of text on this heterogeneous background, which is really annoying because you can't, there's no possibility
It's just,
to read it, it's just completely illegible.
So maybe took the risk a little too far,
Yeah.
you know, or a slightly
find
too
that.
high expectation of her user. You know, you have to. This is the kind of website you have to buy into. You know, and some people will, but
My favorite.
some people won't. And again, it might be the difference
nothing.
between.
Doesn't matter.
You know, again, I wouldn't say this is about selling artwork as much as, you know, she might be, you know, quite interested, for example, at speaking at conferences. And I would, as an academic, tend to go with the person who communicates better. So if you've got two artists and you're giving one of them an opportunity, and you like both of them, you'll go with the one with the clearer communication strategy. So, yeah. Brilliant. Are we...
So, no,
No?
not-
Okay,
not quite.
okay.
Just a bit.
Okay, hold on.
Just a bit. So actually,
more.
so she's also using. I mean, that's actually quite nice.
Yeah.
Nice one. Everything's fine here. We can see very clear things. She's usually using previous and next links to the next pages or to the other projects, but it's a bit confusing because she actually on the left side it's always the next project. So it's like
Right, okay,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah. It's moving
exchange
forward.
somehow.
Yeah.
What I've been criticizing a bit was the endless sequence of pictures she put in some places or in some projects. There's just pictures and there's nothing like a description, nothing like a specific related text.
So there's no context.
No.
So again, if I'm giving you feedback in a couple of weeks' time, I'm saying there's no context. This is what we mean. It's like there might be a beautiful image and you might know exactly why it's there, but expecting us to recognise the context actually puts your viewers off. It angers them.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell? You know, it's a lovely picture, but what is it?
What is it?
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of
And just describing it. This is a picture of some dogs. Isn't context. So this is one of a series of 10 that I took investigating park life in Bristol, which was part of this project. Click here to see the project brief. That's placing it into context. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if she wanted, if Lu Yang wanted to make people follow her page decently, I said she should highlight her text somehow, definitely, to reduce this kind of, you know, also reduce the amount of pictures, provide specific description of single elements. But I assume, like you said before, I assume that's not what she wanted. She wants to make people sick with it.
Yeah.
You know. So our main question in the beginning was, is confusion a strategy? And we found several different ways of establishing confusion on websites, which can be the strange redirecting or strange links, like inconsistent usage of fonts and styles, layout, implausible categorization, illegible text.
I like that. Implausible categorization is a lovely.
Lovely. Animated backgrounds can be nice, but in this case it's a matter of taste, I'd say. Too much information in the CV or about exhibitions.
Yeah.
I think that was your points in Lu Yang mainly. And and some information is just very difficult to find. Actually, that's the problem. I mean, in her case, it's very hard to see the CV, for example. So I think, or we thought that confusion can work sometimes, but like you said before already, I think in Lu Yang's situation, it's a bit more structured, even though it looks crazy, but it's very structured because she's consistent.
Yeah. There's a recognizable strategy, and it's deliberate. It's like I said, it's a bit crude, but balls out. You know, she's absolutely going for it. Are we kind of ready to throw over? Do you guys, either of you guys, have anything else to add? We're okay. So I think again, I know it's been a long day, but a lot of work went into these presentations. So somebody who hasn't asked a question, now is your last chance.
I have a question.
Hey.
Yeah.
You've asked loads. Go ahead. That's fine. The rest of you be thinking of a question.
Do you think you can navigate into this website, this one, using your mobile phone or not? Really?
Yeah.
We tried.
Yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same actually.
It's no easier,
But
no.
It's like with actually, I think it's like with films and with videos you show onto a big screen like a cinema or on a mobile phone. Usually you think about what kind of device you pick in the end. And if you take a look on the mobile phone, it's also confusing, but it's less irritating. It's a bit easier to handle or to bear it, I'd say. Yeah.
because instead of 3, it's just 1.
Yeah,
1
that's right.
And you just scroll down.
Oh, it's like a
and
big toilet strip, toilet paper. That's
Yeah.
what I call it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit, so it's possible,
I
but
think that he has to put one of the videos.
the videos.
That-
Yeah, you, just while you're doing that, somebody else with
Yeah.
a question. I'll give you a minute. I'm not looking behind me for any reason other than it's been very quiet this
I
corner
think
of the
it's this
room.
one. I think it was this one.
Da, 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 da.
Or it doesn't have to be a
People
question, it
ask
can just be a comment.
questions.
A comment.
Was it this one?
I
No,
know.
I don't know, but we can just try one.
What did you say?
No, it's not this one.
No?
So destructive.
Oh, sorry, that's a black humor one, actually.
Yeah, I don't want to start. Look, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to
That's
shut
fine.
it down because
No, but are
I
there
really
any more
want to pull
questions?
attention back because there are people who haven't asked a question,
Yeah.
and I want to give everyone a chance. And I think this is a really good one to end on because it's so high energy. What do we? I mean, it doesn't have to be a question. What do we think? What do we think about the question the girls asked? You know, is confusion a strategy? And if it is it a good strategy?
Not if you have epilepsy.
Not if you have
That's the thing, yeah.
I think that's a valid point.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
If you've got any kind of response to strobing, this is actually kind of irresponsible.
But what do you think about the text actually in Lu Yang's pages? Like here, you can see the text in the bottom here. Do you think it makes sense to even put text if it's not legible? Because I've been thinking a long time about why, and I thought it must be something like a very deep philosophy behind it.
Drag it.
Because it's of course it's not this kind of straight, it's not functional. It's
Sorry,
not
what did
You
you
have to select the text.
Sorry, guys.
That's
Sorry.
right.
Sorry. What? Ask that again.
I was wondering, drag out.
Can you drag it, or is there something you can do to make it more legible?
No, that's the only thing
Yeah.
I did actually, highlighting it. That
Yeah.
worked a bit better.
Do we think that she's deliberately doing this, or do you think she just doesn't care enough about what she's writing?
Doesn't
I think she's deliberately
Yeah.
doing that, but also doesn't care so much.
Yeah. Which means that the objective of this is to piss us off.
I think so.
So
Actually, I
it's
think
a
that's
successful
strategy.
website.
Yeah.
We're talking about her. We're not talking about the other website, are we? And actually, I think the other one. I mean, can you open up the second
Yeah.
one, because that one is equally interesting, and I think you've picked a really intriguing examples. But at first glance, I thought this. Well, what did you think of this one? No? Did we? Simple? Did we
Yeah.
like it? Did we think it was successful?
No.
No?
So,
Different.
Anybody disagree?
Different.
It's different. I think there's some very elegant solutions in here. I think there are some very elegant. I think as a piece of visual communication, this is innovative and thoughtful. I'm not sure how successful it is as a website, but I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be. Can we not break the computer? I'm not sure. And also, I'm going to be picking up all those thumps on this.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I'm not sure how successful it is as a website, but then I don't think it is a website. I think it's an interactive catalogue. I think if you recategorize it, suddenly this is rewarding. I have one question on this, which is the graphic underneath her name. Is that a series of images? That little grid. What is that? Blue idea. Sorry?